Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to Livestream Saturday. I hope you guys had a great week and thank you everybody for getting involved. What's going on? This is an interesting start to the live stream. I don't know what that was, but I hope you guys have had a great week. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. And I don't know whether we'll go back to that screen again. Who knows? But hopefully it will stay on this screen for a while. Let me get the live chat room up on screen straight away, just to make sure that you guys can see yourselves. Thank you for joining me so early on in the live chat room before the stream even started. I always say that I feel like I've forgotten to do something before we start the live stream, and that certainly was an interesting start. It's never happened before, but this is the thing, always breaking new ground with these live streams. So we have Mad Kiwi and Laurie and Kevin and Denise and Carl, Laurie, Alexi, Tara, Robert, Vince, 58 Marine, the crazy Hovian, Lucy, Mike, Ivy. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And it is difficult sometimes to keep a track of the names as they go through, but a massive hello as well to the moderators in there. I've seen Laurie so far, and I haven't seen any other moderators yet, but we might be joined by another one or two, but we will see. Hello Laurie, thank you for joining me tonight and for moderating. So let's get also the names of my patrons up on screen, because these guys make it all possible. They make all of the mistakes possible as well. So thank you guys so much for your support over on Patreon, making the analysis videos possible for me every single night in these live streams as well. You know who you are, and these people do pop up in the live chat room as well as the super chat. Because let me get the super chat window up on screen. We did have a donation before we were live, and this is from Gary, who has donated $10. So thank you so much for that, Gary. And it was just a straight up donation, so there was no message with that. Thank you so much. I'm just going to try and get these screens organized because something was thrown off at the beginning there, but I think we're okay. And it looks like I can see everything that's going on with the likes as well. And just while I remember, let's have a spike of the likes really early on. If you can hit that thumbs up button, it'd be massively appreciated. And we try to get to 200 likes in these live streams. That's always the target. So it looks like we're at 59 already, and it's great. I've actually got a screen where I can see what's going on. Normally that doesn't show up. So good stuff. It maybe was something to do with the mistake at the beginning. It refreshed itself and now everything seems to be okay. So we have had another couple of donations in the super chat window, and Marilyn is in there and has donated $5. Thank you so much for that, Marilyn. The message is, hi Phil, what female artist would you like to play and tour with a heart? So thank you for that, Marilyn. And I don't know off the top of my head, maybe Orianthe would be cool to play live with, but also support on tour, something like that, just because she's very much in the same kind of vein, hard rock, lead guitar, vocalist as well, so she can do pretty much everything, and that could be a good tour to do. So that is the answer to that. Just off the top of my head, I'm sure that if I had time to think about it, I could maybe come up with some other possibilities, but that was just the name that was in my head at that time. So thank you for that, Marilyn. And Christine has donated $50. Thank you so much for that, Christine. And it looks like it is a straight up donation. And another thing to mention, thank you so much for that, but if any of these super chat donations are accidents, we can sort it out after the live stream. Don't worry about it. And thank you, Christine, so much for that. We've had another few donations coming in. Thank you guys so early on. We haven't even got into the first video yet, but Lucy has donated $24.99. Thank you for that, Lucy. The message is for the Cross the Pond Fund and Family Norway Trip Fund. Happy 60th birthday to Steve Vai with some rock horns, heart and peace. So thank you for that, Lucy. And indeed, I'm sure everybody echoes those sentiments to Steve. And Steve's signed guitar, you can only just see it in the background there. When I say Steve's signed guitar, is his signature, and this is the gem. I've mentioned it all the time. I do mention it all the time, especially when Mario's in the house, because that is the guitar that Mario sent to me, signed by Steve Vai himself. So a massive happy birthday to Steve Vai. Thank you, Lucy, for that donation. And Robert has donated $10. Thank you for that, Robert. And the message is thank you, with a guy doing a prayer and leaning forward. So thank you for that. And Carl is in the house as well and has donated $5. Thank you for that, Carl. And we all know what this is for. There's no message with it, but that is for the Cross the Pond Fund. So thank you for that, Carl. And Joan is in the house as well. Hello, Joan. Thank you for joining me tonight. And this is a $49.99 donation. Thank you so much for that. The message is for the Phone Data Fund. Thank you for all you do for us, with a smiley face or a winking face. So thank you for that, Joan. And just to fill everybody in, last night I did a video on Willie Nelson, and it took quite a long time to get that onto the internet because my internet last night went down for 2.5 hours, and fingers crossed it doesn't happen tonight as well. But it meant that I was up till maybe 4 or just after 4 is when I got to upload it finally, because I thought I can't wait for my internet to come back on, so I'm going to use my phone. And I have, I think, 1 gig of phone data. And I know that the video that I uploaded was about 700 megabytes, so I'm not sure whether that was even an upload, because then my internet on my phone stopped working, so I think I just used it all up in one fell swoop. But that is just the stage that I was at, that I wasn't going to wait any longer for my internet to come back. So that is what Joan was referring to. Last night, it did take me quite a while, but we got there in the end, thankfully. It was a very late or very early night, depending on how you judge it. It was daylight when I went to bed, but at least the video got out there. So thank you so much for that donation, Joan. And Orlando has donated $2. And the message is spike the likes, people, with lots of thumbs up. So thank you for that, Orlando. And great advice. Let's get a plug of the mug in here as well. Spike the likes on the mug. And you can get yourself a mug if you want to in the tray underneath this video, as well as a t-shirt and hoodies as well. And mentioning that, we do have another picture that's going to be shown later that I've picked up from the Wings of Pegasus supporters page over on Facebook, and that is going to be Ray showing off all of her merchandise, so we will get to that later in tonight's live stream. So just before we start the first video, TeacherMan1955 has donated $5. Thank you for that. And the message is Mario is in the house. Hi Phil, you rock. So thank you for that. And everybody say hello to Mario in the live chat room tonight, because that's what we do in these here live streams whenever Mario's in the house. So everybody give Mario a massive hello, give him lots of thumbs up, and welcome Mario. Thank you for joining us tonight again on the live stream. And Deborah has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Deborah. And this is the same guy flying through the air like Superman. So thank you for that. We're going to be jumping into the first video of the night. I know that these live streams do fly by. No pun intended with Deborah's donation and the flying man. But we will be getting into this first video, which was requested by Mario over on Patreon. So it's all coming together. And just before we do jump in, Ken has donated $5. Thank you for that, Ken. And the message is, Phil, the donation you are getting goes to show you are appreciation. I'm sure I'm reading this incorrectly, for what you are doing. Keep it up, with some musical notation that I can never see because it's too dark, but we have 2 rock horns as well. So thank you for that, Ken. And Kathleen has donated $10. Thank you for that, Kathleen. And the message is, thanks for your great music and all the analysis. So thank you for that, Kathleen. And to all of you guys for joining me tonight on live stream Saturday. We will be jumping into this first video requested by Mario over on Patreon. It is the live version of my song called Haunted, and I'll be in the chat room while this is playing. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I'll see you guys after. Rock!
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there we have it. That was my song called Haunted. I hope you guys enjoyed that one, and you can pick that song up and all my other songs on my album called Persistence at wingsofpegasus.com/store if you want to go directly to that page. So thank you, Mario, for requesting that one over on Patreon, and thank you to all of you who answer my requests before the live stream, because it gives me videos to play. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to decide between one or the next, and it'd be an absolute nightmare. So thank you guys for doing that. And let's get the super chat window up on screen again, because we have had a little bit of action in there again. It is Carl who has jumped in with a $2 donation. Thank you so much for that, Carl. And the message is for some takeout, maybe some Chinese. So thank you for that, Carl. And yes, I am a bit partial to some Chinese now and again. Mostly pizza though. But it's still, I think Chinese might be about the same price as pizza here. So there's every excuse. I don't need many excuses actually, but there is an excuse to go and have a Chinese because it doesn't cost any more. That's the way that I equate it all anyway. But anyway, thank you. Anyway, let's move away from pizza. The reason I'm saying anyway so many times is because we always end up talking about pizza, because I had that last night. And tonight I had hot dogs, which is something that I'm sure you guys in the USA are experts at hot dogs. I probably don't have them the same way that you do, but over here I am a fan of hot dogs as well. So thank you for that, Carl, and we'll stop talking about food. And Wild Bill 56 has donated $1.99. Thank you so much for that. And the message is, it looks like one of those director chairs, maybe with on set written on it. It's a really small picture, so I can't see it very clearly. But thank you, Wild Bill, for that. And we also had a donation from Joe Guns, who has donated $24. So thank you so much for that. And Joe says, cheers, mate. So thank you for that message as well. And I'm just thinking whether the previous donation from Wild Bill is indeed the Wild Bill, who I have spoken to many times in the past, quite a long time ago now, but it might be, maybe if Wild Bill is still around in the live chat room, it might just be another Wild Bill, but it may be the Wild Bill, so we will see. And if it is, then he'll know what I'm talking about. But thank you for that donation, and also Joe. And Ginger Duran has donated $5. Thank you so much for that. And the message is, hi Phil, here's a Cross the Pond fund donation. The Willie Nelson video was fantastic. Stay safe out there, with a smiley face. So thank you for that, and I will try my best. I'm not really going out there anywhere, so I'm staying as safe as possible pretty much in this room, which is absolutely fine, but I'm sure that everybody in the live chat room is staying safe as well. Hopefully you are. It is a strange time that we're living in at the moment with coronavirus, and also the protests and everything that's going on with that. Not only in the USA, but the UK as well. We have exactly the same thing going on. So it's a unique time to be alive, but hopefully it's a time that is going to signal some changes, which would be great into the future. It's always something that happens, something like this, that then starts the changes to happen just little by little. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be that, and we can move forward and everything will just improve in the future for everybody in the world. That's all we can hope for. But thank you guys so much for all of these donations. And also Michaeline has just donated $4.99. Thank you for that, Michaeline. And DM has also donated $1.99. And the message is, there's a cake, it looks like, and a pizza. Thoughts on Robert Heinrush producer? Hashtag PhilCon. So thank you for that, DM. And when we're talking about production, it's one of those things that I think a lot of people don't realize how much goes into the production side of music. And certainly Rupert Hine and Rush having that sound, it is something that is so difficult to get a sound live. I've mentioned this in so many videos about getting the sound live that you get on the record, but some of the bands could pull it off, and amazingly some three-piece bands could pull it off as well, and certainly one of those bands was Rush, who just absolutely nailed it live every single time, and that is just the way that they did it. That's how they rolled, being three technically amazing musicians independently, and then when they played together, that's just where the magic happens. And thank you so much for that, DM, for the donation and the message. Orlando has donated again underneath that. Thank you for that. It is $5. The message is the sweet bassist Steve Priest. Rest in peace, he was 72 years old. So yes, I did hear that sad news. Thank you everybody for mentioning it on the channel in the comments as well, and for informing me of that. And the Sweet are here somewhere on the channel. Actually, not too long ago they were featured, so very sad news about Steve. But thank you, Orlando, for that $5 donation and the message. So we are going to be moving on to the next video. Just before we do, actually, I want to bring up a few things that have happened this week, apart from on Livestream Tuesday. When I finished, I pressed the wrong button and it counted down again as if we were almost going to start a new live stream, but that was just me clicking on the wrong thing. So hopefully tonight will go a little bit better than that at the end of this live stream. But I also want to bring up what's happened this week, because I had a message from Gigi Stafford. And you might not know who that is, but I got the message on Facebook, and it's Jim Stafford's daughter. And I do have a video here on the channel of Jim and his amazing guitar playing, his technical ability, but also the comedic element and the way that he tells the jokes and delivers them. And he's such a great all-round artist and entertainer. So that was Jim's daughter who messaged me and had a picture of her phone. And it was the conversation between her and her dad. And Jim said that he was flattered to be talked about in that way or something like that, which is a little bit crazy, because Jim shouldn't be flattered by anybody saying that he's a great guitarist and flat picker as well. That is something that he did say, that he forgot how fast he was with a pick, and he certainly was, is, and is still one of those artists that entertains so much. It is such, for me, a big part of putting on a show, entertaining, and Jim just has that ability to roll it all into one. So the comedy, the technical ability that does fly under the radar because of the comedy elements in there, being such a great comedian as well. But thank you, Gigi, for sending me that message. And I also had a message, it's been a busy week, from Mark Farner over on Twitter as well, and that was very well received, and that was just about the video that I did on Mark, which is also on the channel here somewhere, and I'm sure you guys know who Mark is from Grand Funk Railroad, and it was great to get a message from him. So thank you, Mark, for sending that over. And yeah, Martin Page as well, before I forget. Martin commented on the video that I did when I said the worst song of all time, we built this city on rock and roll. I'm sure that you guys saw that video. It did have quite a lot of views, and we built this city was one of those songs that I think, because it was a change from what the band had done previously and it was more mainstream, it got pretty much slated in the press, and I say in that video about GQ magazine, that was the title that was given to it, the worst song of all time. But it, in my opinion, is far from that, and that's what we get into with that video. But more importantly, Martin commented on the video, and Martin was one of the writers of the song. Everything melodic that you can hear, the chords, that is Martin's work. So a massive thank you to Martin Page for getting in touch over that video, because it's great to get the insight of the writer of the song. So massive thank you all round there. So it has been a busy week with the messages that have been coming in, which is great because the videos obviously get out there, and it's great also when somebody that I featured gets in touch and we get to talk about their playing. It is something that would be good to have maybe in the future, some of the artists that I have featured on the channel. I know that I've done that with Frank Marino in the past, but maybe in the future we can get a few more people on the channel. But thank you guys so much for the action going on in the super chat window, because we have had a donation from Laura, who has donated $20. Thank you so much for that. The message is, Thanks for being such a nice fellow who is super talented. So thank you for that, Laura, for the donation and the kind words. And Linda has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Linda. The message is, hi Phil, I'll have to catch this on the replay. My son Tim and I are taking advantage of the lovely weather to give our fence a much needed coat of paint. Certainly not as fun as the live stream, with a heart. So thank you for that, Linda. And I thought you were going to say you're going to take advantage of the weather and go to the beach or something, but it's going to be a coat of paint for the fence from Linda and Tim. So I hope that all goes well and your painting is as exciting as it can be. Watching paint dry is something that's not that entertaining, but hopefully the process is. Thank you for that, Linda. And we've had another donation. This is from Peg1122 or 1122, who has donated $10. Thank you for that. The message is, you have reignited my desire to play, sing and compose. I haven't done so in years. It is drawing me out of a long depression. So thank you for that donation, and that's great to hear. I think just picking up a guitar or singing or learning to play the guitar, learning to sing is just good for the soul, especially if you've got that part of you that wants to do it. I think a lot of people do have the inkling to get into music in some way, shape or form, but they don't really know how to do it. But I think that if you just find an instrument, or if you are passionate about singing or you want to sing, just jump into it and enjoy it. That's always the most important thing. Make sure you're enjoying the music, you're enjoying the process. And that is something that I did want to bring up in this live stream, but maybe I'll talk about it later when I'm describing things and how to play things in the videos, on the analysis videos that I do. It's very much from a teacher's perspective of getting you guys, if you are playing the guitar and watching the video, getting you guys as quickly to what I'm playing as possible. And I do tend to brush over a lot of the theory, because I know personally myself that if when I was 12 I knew I wanted to play the guitar, that's something that I wanted to do. I heard Jimi Hendrix, I thought I want to do that, and I'm sure that if I went to have a lesson and the teacher said to me, we're not going to pick up the guitar, you have to learn the theory first and then we're going to play, I would have said, oh, well, in that case, I don't want to do it. I just want to play the guitar. So that is the way that I do approach when I'm doing the analysis videos. I do brush over, or at least I don't focus on the theory. I just get into the quickest way of getting to the destination of playing, of getting the chord down and playing what you're hearing in the video. So I might just explain that in a little bit more detail a little bit later in the live stream if we do have a chance, but I know that the time is precious on these live streams and it does go past very quickly. So we will be jumping into the next video. Thank you everybody for joining me tonight. Let's have a look into the live chat room quickly before we do that. We have Jennifer in there, Glamgal710, Calfolk7's in the house, DM as well, Helen, Shake Your Guitar Tutorials, Guitar Fan, Marilyn, KA DJ's in the house as well, Orlando, Joan, and Louis. I'm never sure whether it's going to be a silent S or not, but thank you guys so much for joining me, and Laurie is still in there moderating, so a massive thank you to Laurie for doing that tonight. Right, we're going to get into the next video. This was requested over on Patreon, as they all are. And this was Joan and Kevin who requested Don't Stop Believing, my cover of that song by Journey. I hope you guys enjoy this one. Thank you guys for asking for it. And I'll be in the live chat room as always. And I'll see you guys after this. Rock!
Small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born smoky room, the smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. There's shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Working hard to get my fill. Everybody wants a thrill. Paying anything to roll the dice just one more time. Some will win, some will lose. Some are born to sing the blues. Oh, the movie never ends. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting up and down the boulevard. There's shadows searching in the night. Streetlight people living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people. Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. Streetlight people.
Hi guys, it's Phil here. Thanks so much for watching my cover of Don't Stop Believing by Journey. The names you can see here are my patrons. Hi patrons, thanks so much for your support and for making videos like this possible. If you want to get involved yourself and if you want to talk to me and maybe suggest some other songs that I can cover, head to this website down here, patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. And if I don't see you on Patreon, I'll see you at the next video. Have a great day. Rock.
And there we have it. That was my cover of Don't Stop Believing. Of course, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And it's always funny to watch the end of the videos because sometimes on the covers I have the end screen where I'm just saying thank you to my patrons, which I still do here because they go along the bottom of the screen. And it's interesting to see the hair, the way that it was so short. It was about up here. So I'm very much sporting the quarantine hair at the moment. It's just getting longer and longer, and it has to be the center parting now because the fringe comes down to about here. But let's stop talking about hair and get the super chat window up on screen because we did have some action in there. Thank you guys so much for the donations. And there was a donation from DM. I want to make sure that I don't miss any. It was for $1.99. Thank you for that. And the message is, I think Def Leppard's Slang CD is great. Check it out. So thank you for that. And Slang, that was a bit of a while ago now, mid-90s, I think around there. I've been to see Def Leppard a few times. So definitely one of those bands that fall into the category, or at least my preferred category to listen to, hard rock, and they were supporting once Whitesnake, so that was quite a good gig to go and watch. That was at Wembley Arena, that was cool. But anyway, thank you DM for that, and Kay has donated $5. Thank you for that again, Kay. The message is the guy doing the mic drop, so thank you for that, Kay, and it's the same guy who pops up all the time in the super chat window. But Kevin has donated $2 as well. Thank you for that, Kevin. The message is there a story behind your 2 rings with some rock horns? And I wish there was. It's not very interesting. I just bought them at the shops to wear, so it's not really that interesting. And they weren't even fitted, so they just happened to fit. I think it was probably at one of those stalls that here in the UK, you have like a shopping centre. I think you call it a mall in the USA from the movies that I've seen. And they set up these jewelry type stores. They aren't really stores, they're stalls, in order to just look at all the stuff that they have. And I think it was just a couple of the rings that I picked up from there, so nothing particularly interesting, but one of them's got a dragon on, which I quite liked, so that's why I went for one of those. And another one's like almost a Celtic design on there, so I just like the look of them and pick them up. So anyway, thank you for that, Kevin. Sorry that there's not a really interesting story behind the rings, but Orlando has donated $20. Thank you so much for that, Orlando. And the message is, youngsters Audrey and Kate from Nagasaki, Japan covered NIB by Black Sabbath. Audrey San plays with an autographed Epiphone Tony Iommi SG custom left-handed ebony coloured guitar. I'm apologising in advance how I'm reading this because it is a long message and it's very small. They did a great job. I will send you the video. So thank you for that, Orlando, and for that message. You can definitely send me that video. I'll take a look at it. It depends how young we're talking, because I have mentioned on the channel before about anyone of age 13 and below I can't feature because of the copper ruling that came in at the beginning of the year on YouTube. So for very young guitarists, unfortunately, I can't look at those on the channel or analyze their playing or that kind of stuff. But of course, I can watch it in my own free time and enjoy it. But it depends how young they are. I'll check it out. And if it's potentially an analysis video in the future, then I can add it to the list as well. But thank you, Orlando, so much for that. And Music Maiden has just donated $10. Thank you for that. And I'm going to try and stick with reading it. I should have made this bigger, but the message is, wondering why sometimes your fingers are outstretched on your right hand when you pick, and other times your fingers are curled up. Sorry, strange question, I know. And it's not really a strange question, it's all about technique. So when I'm using palm muting, I'm using my palm in order to mute the strings. And I've got Mario's acoustic next to me, so let me lean across and try not to break anything while I'm playing. So if I'm playing with my right hand, if my fingers are outstretched, I can get a muted sound. So open strings again and muted. You can see that my finger's pointing all the way down because I want all of this edge of my hand to cover all of the strings. If I'm playing a bit of lead where I want the strings to ring out and I'm in A, and I've got my pick, actually my little finger is still outstretched. Probably what's going to be happening is I have my hand closed. I can't remember when I have my hand closed because it's a subconscious thing. But generally, when my finger is outstretched, it's in order to have access to a mute if I want to. And that also goes for when you're playing lead. If I'm playing on the B string, up here, pentatonic shape 1, all you guys will know this from the analysis videos, and A minor pentatonic shape 1 if you're taking any notes. But if you're playing on the B string and you've got your notes here, there you go, my hand is now curled up because I'm resting the lower part of my thumb, this fleshy part, on the low strings. So it means that if I play, that G is muted, the D's muted, the A's muted, and the E's muted. So it means that I can hit all of these and it's not going to affect my lead playing. And as I move down there, you want to make sure that your palm follows your playing so that you're not muting. If I go all the way down and I still have the mute there, you won't hear any notes because the mute is still in place. So it is something that happens subconsciously, but a quick answer to that is that when I'm palm muting, I've pretty much got that little finger outstretched. When I get into lead playing, it probably does tend to curl up a little bit. And I think if I am doing any kind of alternate picking, then I start to get into my alternate picking subconscious position in order to pick really fast. And that is something that every player has. They get into a very particular setup because of obviously their arm length, their hand, everything genetically that makes them a person different to everybody else means that their picking style and their picking technique will be ever so slightly different. So everyone pops into their own unique position in order to do their alternate picking and in order to get it really fast. But that is probably when my hand starts to curl up, is for any more technical passages that include alternate picking, economy picking, all that kind of good stuff. Let me try and put that back without ruining everything. So I hope that that's been an okay answer and not too complicated. Oh, I should have, while I had the guitar, explain about the whole chords thing, which I'll do very quickly. So I don't want this to turn into some kind of instructional video, but just to mention about the chords when I'm going through them with the analysis videos. For example, somebody wrote a comment that was asking about the chords or pointing out more specifically what the chords were and how I should have described them, whereas in this song, I can't remember which song it was, it's going to annoy me, but we had an E in our... If we're all the way up here, I'm going to actually explain this in exactly the same way that I do when I'm doing the analysis videos, because I'd say you get your first finger on the 7th fret, which if you know your fretboard, you'll know it's the 3rd dot up. It's always going to be there. And then you bar your 3rd finger across those 3 strings, the D, the G, and the B. Like that. And I explain in the video that in order to play the chord that was being played, just substitute your 3rd finger for your 1st finger and put your 3rd finger over here on the 11th fret of the A string. And I called that an A flat because it's at the 12th fret. Everybody knows your A is there. So I thought the quickest way to describe it would be an A flat. Like that. So it means that we've got our E chord here that we had earlier. And now we've got our 3rd finger playing that A flat, which is a G sharp. When you're referring to this chord as an inversion, and this is where things get complicated if you don't know about chords and the way that they work. You've got inversions of chords, which means that you're using a different root note. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that because the reason I don't get into it is because if I say to anybody, right, now we play the first inversion of E, and then I move on to a B minor 7th, people are going to say, well, hang on, what was that? What did you just say? I don't know what an inversion is. I don't know what the first inversion of E is. And it can get very confusing. And the reason that I just show people how to play it and don't get into the whole theory side of things is because once you mention something about inversions, for example, you then have to explain what an inversion is. And somebody said, well, what is the first inversion of E? And you say, well, it's when you use the 3rd. You say, well, the first inversion is using the 3rd of the scale and changing that as the root note, and it gets really complicated really quickly, and we've stopped playing guitar, we're now just talking. And getting into all of that, obviously the analysis videos would turn into videos that go on for years, because then you'd have to explain how the second inversion is the fifth as the root note and not the E as it normally would be. So anyway, just to cut a long story short, somebody who was saying about how I wasn't explaining the chords and inversions and all that kind of stuff, there were obviously valid musical points that were being made, but I was trying to explain that in order for everybody at home watching the analysis videos, I'm imagining that somebody's got their guitar out, they might be watching the video, and they might not know any theory, but they know some chords down at the bottom. I just want to get them to that end goal of playing what I'm playing the quickest way possible. And often it is just the case of whatever you're playing, just move your first finger where your third finger was, and then bring your third finger over, and then just say what fret that third finger's on and which string it's on. And it really does simplify the whole process of getting to that end goal as quickly as possible. And that's generally how I have approached teaching for over 15 years. It's just getting people playing, and then if they want to know the theory afterwards, then we can get into it. But let's put that down again. And it's already 1:45 in the morning, so we're going to have to move on a little bit swiftly, or more swiftly than we have been, but that is something that I did want to explain in a live stream, because there are valid points about I could go through the theory, but then it would take a lot longer in the videos, and it does detract from the video that we've been watching and that we're analyzing, because it will turn more into a theory lesson than an analysis of a particular song and how to play that song and how the particular performer, artist, is playing it themselves, because it might vary from the live version. But anyway, or from the recorded version to the live version. But anyway, we've had a bit of action in the super chat window. We will be jumping into the next video as soon as possible, but let's have a little look down here. We have had a few donations here. Thank you guys so much for this. And TeacherMan1955 has donated $5. Thank you so much for that. The message is, great job moderators. Neil is in the house. Love your journey cover. Rock with lots of guitars. So thank you guys so much for all of these donations, but also thank you Neil for joining us tonight and moderating with Laurie in there as well. Thank you TeacherMan1955 for that little notification and the donation. And King Nero has donated $10. Thank you so much for that. The message is, thank you, Phil, for donating your time to the live streams and for the knowledge you share. I always am enriched by that. Thanks. Love your Patreon page and glad I signed. So thank you for that, King Nero, the donation and the kind words, and also for joining me over on Patreon with all of these amazing people at the bottom of the screen, as well as the amazing people in the super chat window and in the live chat room, because we are all amazing in this place, and I'm amazed myself that you join me on these live streams so consistently. So a massive thank you to all of you guys for joining me on Saturday nights and Tuesday nights. We've also had a little bit more action in the super chat window. Ray has donated $50. Thank you so much for that, Ray. The message is, thank you. I continue to learn about stagecraft, the industry, composition, playing with others, etc, 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 and now guitar. Thank you again. So no problem, Ray. And just while we are talking about Ray with that donation, hopefully I'm going to be able to find this on the screen, because I always do this incorrectly. I'm really hoping that this is going to work. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I found the picture of Ray with her mug and her t-shirt, so fingers crossed I'm going to show that on screen just to try and fill the time while I try and find where I have put the other picture of Ray that I got earlier from the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook, not Patreon. So hopefully I'm looking down the list. Thank you guys so much for uploading so many pictures, because I have so many now that it is very difficult to find the one that I'm looking for. So hopefully now, fingers crossed, I can switch from one to the next. 3, 2, 1. And there we have it. Has that changed? I can't see it on my screen, but hopefully Ray is on screen there with not only the Spike the Likes mug, the hoodie as well, and she has fashioned her shirt, I believe it's the shirt, into some headwear as well. So thank you so much, Ray, for uploading that to the Wings of Pegasus supporters page over on Facebook, but also for getting all of that merchandise and just posing for such a cool picture with some rock horns thrown in there for good measure as well. So thank you so much for that, Ray, and everybody for uploading your pictures of mugs and t-shirts and everything over on Facebook. Again, that is Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. You can just type that into the search bar at the top of Facebook and that should show up. If you can't find it that way, you can go to wingsofpegasus.com, go to the live stream section, and there's a big picture there that you can click on, and that will take you to that Facebook Wings of Pegasus supporters page. But thank you so much for that, Ray. And Franco Nico has donated $5. Thank you for that, Franco. And the message is, I'm in Kansas City. We have many open mic and jam clubs. How's the action in London? And not particularly good, unfortunately, for live bands. For cover bands, it's pretty much okay because there are pubs and clubs that do hire cover bands. But if you want to get out there and play your own music, then it's pretty much going to be pay to play, which is something that I experienced quite a lot, where you have to pay up front and then try and sell enough tickets to break even. So every gig you do, you don't make any money. You're only ever breaking even. And if you have to pay money for petrol and all that kind of stuff, then you will make a loss at every gig. So it is a bit of a pain for original artists. So that's why I think pretty much it's going to be better to get yourself online if you are in and around London. I played Leicester Square on a Friday night with my band, and the only other people watching were the other bands. I think there were maybe 2 other people that had come down to watch the gig, because people just don't want to see original music, because unfortunately there's no way that it's policed, and there are so many not very good bands that do give lots of other bands a bad name. So people go to watch a band who aren't very good and just make a lot of noise and might be inappropriate as well and use bad language, and they think, right, well, I'm not watching original music anymore, I'm going to go and watch a cover band in a pub or a club where they've been hired to do that and they're getting paid. So then the amount of times I've played a gig where we've been headlining and the previous band has literally emptied the venue. If I had £1 for every time that happened, then I'd probably still be gigging. I could afford to do it. But it is one of those things, unfortunately, that is just the way of the industry, that it isn't really, as I said, policed at these venues very well. So anyway, it's the reason that I'm online, and since making that decision, everything's been going great. So this is why I do say to other people, just get yourselves online if you can do. Playing live is not the be-all and end-all. It might be the case that if people do like your music enough, you can sell enough tickets to actually make a profit, and then it becomes something that's financially viable, and you can make money from your music, but you can continue to do it because you're never ever going to be at a loss. You're always making money moving forward, which is exactly what you want to do in any business. And music is just a business like every other, especially if you can own all of your own material as well, all of the rights to your songs. Then every sale you'll be making a profit on that, and you can use that to move forward. So just a bit of advice that I do share a lot on this channel, just that same advice of stay independent if you can, keep all of your rights, and then you'll be in such a better position moving forward. But thank you so much, Franco, for that donation. Glamgal710 has donated $5. Thank you so much for that. The message is, hi Phil, an orange squash for you. Ever drank a smoothie? They taste groovy. Thanks for what you do and for being you. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that, Karen, as well. I think that the orange squash, maybe other people are joining me now if you can get your hands on it in these live streams. But with the smoothie, I have had many smoothies in my time because I do drink fruit juice. That's pretty much all I drink along with orange squash. Maybe a cup of tea and coffee as well, but it's just water and juices pretty much is what I like to drink. So thank you for that, Karen, the donation. And also, thank you for that orange squash. virtually that you've given to me. So Debbie has donated $4.99 as well. Thank you for that, Debbie. And it's the guy exercising saying keep it up. So thank you for that. And Lucy has donated $4.99 again. Thank you, Lucy. The message is just wanted to note to anyone in the path of Cristobal, my prayers are with you. Take care with a heart. So I'm not sure what that is. I'm assuming it is going to be a storm of some kind. So thank you for that message, Lucy. We don't really get storms over here in the UK. If we do, they're not usually severe enough to have a name, but I'm sure with everything moving forward and the whole global warming thing and more extreme weather, that maybe we will start to get more storms over here in the UK. But thank you, Lucy, for that. And Karaoke Closet has donated $3.99. Thank you for that. And the message is thank you for your recognition of my amazingness. So no problem. Thank you for the donation. And Amy has donated $4.99. Thank you for that. The message is, hey Phil and Room, love that artists appreciate your analysis of their talent. Very cool with some rock horns. And there's a picture of something else, but I don't think it's loaded. But thank you for that, Amy. And Lucy's donated again, $4.99. Thank you for that. And the message is, to clarify, Cristobal is a tropical storm heading toward New Orleans, Louisiana. So thank you for that, Lucy. And yes, I fortunately did manage to get it right. It was a storm of some type. So I hope that everyone can stay safe. If that is heading towards you in Louisiana, then just do everything you can to make sure that you just stay safe and stay out of trouble if possible. But thank you for that, Lucy. And Robert has donated $20. Thank you so much for that, Robert. And I can see that this is a long question, so I'll do my best to read it all out without messing up any words. Hi Phil, I know this may be an impossible question, but who is the most overall impressive musicians off the top of your head? Who is outstanding in skill and personality both on and off stage, who amazes you to this day? And yeah, this could take a very long time. There are so many artists that are featured on the channel. I think with the approach to artistry, obviously Jimi Hendrix was the guy that got me into playing the guitar, so he'll always be at the top of my thoughts for somebody who inspired me to play. But other guitarists, Joe Satriani, I was a big fan of, still am, Steve Vai, and Reb Beach as well. You guys probably don't know who he is, but he's a guitarist for Winger. Kip Winger, just as a vocalist, a guitarist. And Prince, if we're talking about an all-round artist in terms of writing, playing instruments, artistic expression, and just having their own way of doing things, I think Prince is one of those that I can't think of anybody else that was at that level for playing so many different instruments, but also getting to such a high level on the guitar and playing so many different styles of guitar as well as singing. So once you start rolling that all together as a total artist, I'd probably have to go for Prince, just because of the amount of instruments and the fact that he could just get in the studio and produce an album himself and give you that product, because that is a totally different set of skills and such a wide skill set in order to be able to do that. So he pretty much is standalone in that respect, but there are so many different artists. When we start talking about guitar players, the different styles, acoustic, electric, classical, and so many different ways of playing, fingerstyle, flat picking, is impossible to choose between or rank different artists from 1 to 10, because so many different ways of playing. You can't really say that one guy is better than another, because some guy might be great at playing fingerstyle and striking the guitar percussively and doing so many different things technique-wise, tapping on chords. And then you have another guy who just does flat picking but is amazingly versed at doing that and can just play through so many really fast, sweet picked arpeggios. So you can't really say, well, who's better, because he's great at doing that and he's great at doing that, but they both can't do what the other one does, and that is artistry and music in a nutshell. everybody does what they do really well because everyone's different. But anyway, thank you so much for that, Robert. We are going to be jumping into this next video because it is 1 a.m. almost 1 minute to go. So let's see if we can get a spike of the likes at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning, very early here in the UK. It would be massively appreciated if you can hit that thumbs up. It really does help this channel to get out there, also for these live streams to get out there as well. So we are going to be jumping into the next video, and this is going to be the lyric video from my song called Greed, and this was requested over on Patreon by Deborah, so thank you so much for that. As always, I'm going to be in the live chat room while this is playing. We'll get this on screen. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you guys after. Rock!
Now the fire's burning low. Seems the bottle is my only friend. To think that I was once on top of the world, knowing who I was and what I become. This is how the story goes. When you fly too close to the sun, you will see, you will get shot down, crucified by your greed. Burning desire. The path to the top was paved by everyone I walked all over. I realize now how I fell off the world, knowing who I was and what I become. This is how the story goes. When you fly too close to the sun, you will see, you will get shot down, crucified by your greed. Now all I own is me, no fancy cars, no company. I burned my bridges long ago. I lost the woman I love the most. The pound signs blinded my eyes. Girl, do you remember me? This is how the story goes. When you fly too close to the sun, you will see, you will get shot down, crucified by your greed.
And there we have it. That was my song called Greed, and that is available on my album, same one as before, called Persistence, which you can also get on iTunes and Amazon, but wingsofpegasus.com/store is the best place for me because it means that I get everything from that and don't have to give a percentage to iTunes or Amazon. So jumping into the super chat window, we have had a few more donations in there. So Mario has popped into there with a $200 donation, so thank you so much for that, Mario. Everybody say a massive hello again to Mario. just for a crazy but massively appreciated donation, and also for the guitars that you can see at least one of over there. It's kind of in the corner. I haven't got long enough arms to point exactly where it is, but oh, that was almost it. There we go. So there is the gem. Thank you so much for that, Mario. And also we've got a couple of other guitars there, but those, oh, you saw the acoustic that I played in this very live stream, and I also get it out for analysis videos, but that's Mario's as well, the Maton. Thank you so much for that and for this donation. And the message is, great live stream, Phil, makes our weekend even better, with a smiley face. So thank you, Mario, for that kind message and all of your support, as well as everybody in the super chat window and the live chat room and my patrons, and for being such a great bunch here on the live streams, and the moderators who make sure that any people that aren't really in that great bunch can at least be a little bit quieter than the rest. Great job on the last live stream as well. There was a troll that did jump in, but they were very well dealt with, so thank you so much for that, moderators, for making it such a great place to be on these live streams in the live chat room. So Orlando has donated $10 again. Thank you for that. The question is, Mark Knopfler and Derek Trucks both play without picks, only with their fingers. What can be done playing guitar without using a pick as opposed to with a pick? So this could take years to answer, but in a nutshell, you'll pretty much find that when you're playing with fingerstyle and just your fingers, or it depends if you've got a thumb pick on as well, you can sometimes get a little bit of an alternate picking motion going with that, which you do hear sometimes. But when you're playing with your fingers, it means that the advantage is you don't have to move anywhere to pick the strings. So if you want to, say for example, do an ascending run across the G, the B and the high E string, you can use your first, second and third finger instantly. Your pick doesn't have to travel there. So you can throw together really fast lines if you want to. And it's something that will improve your speed very quickly, no pun intended, but it will do it in a short length of time if you are picking a string that you're going to, not having to move your pick there. And that's called hybrid picking as well, which means that you get the best of both worlds. You get to pick but also use your fingers. But if you're just using a pick, it means that you can start to alternate pick runs, which you won't really be able to do with your fingers. There tends to be just an upstroke with the fingers, but the advantage with the fingers is that you're already at the string that you need to be at. So there's lots of different pros and cons, but what you'll find is that when you get really good, and when players get really good with a pick, or they get really good at fingerstyle, they can pretty much play the same things as each other, to the point where if somebody gets great at playing in the classical style, and when you're watching the right hand, you'll see that rather than the hand being shaped around in more of an acoustic playing style, when you're playing classical, the fingers are almost straight down and it looks almost like playing bass. And you'll find that great players who play classical guitars play that way, but can still alternate pick effectively between their first and their second finger on the same string. So you get exactly the same effect, the same sound that you would do if you were alternate picking. So eventually you get to the point where guys can get so good at both of those that they cover all bases, so that they can both play exactly what the other guy can play. And that is certainly the case with Mark Knopfler and the examples that you gave with Derek Trucks as well. They can play super fast if they want to, because they have that ability in the right hand, in exactly the same way that someone who's learnt to alternate pick really fast can play probably the same stuff that Mark Knopfler does and Derek Trucks does. But Derek, of course, using that slide, he's all over it, and it's just a different level of slide playing. But with Mark Knopfler, the other thing is the change in expression you get between the flesh on the fingers and the nail of the fingers, and then a pick. Because somebody who's trying to get that softer sound and that whole expression that Mark gets when he plays, if you're trying to do that just with a pick, it's going to be really difficult. It's going to be impossible because he's getting his own sound, because he's playing his own way, using the fleshy part of his fingers sometimes, using a bit of the nail, and there's so many different degrees of expression that he can apply. But let's not get too much into it. As I said, it could go on for years. But thank you, Orlando, for that donation and the question. And Vince has donated $10. Thank you so much for that, Vince. The message is, Tommy Emmanuel, great all-around guitarist on so many styles. Thank you for that, Vince. And yes, Tommy's on the channel here somewhere. I think more than once, but he is certainly one of those guitarists that when you see him flat picking, he can shred, and then when you see him playing fingerstyle, he can just nail that as well. So he's one of those players that I think has that ability to cross over. I see mostly him on acoustic guitar, but he's got the ability to switch over to electric guitar, because I've seen plenty of videos of those as well, with alternate picking, economy picking, sweep picking, you name it. So I think he is one of those players that I've seen in interviews where Tommy says that when he's asked, how long do you practice for? He says, I don't practice, I'm always playing. He's literally always playing. So it's not really a couple of hours or a few hours a day. He's always got a guitar in his hand. And I think that's what you need to do in order to get to that level. Just the amount of practice that's required is insane. And Tommy has certainly done that. So thank you, Vince, for that donation. And the time is now 1:10 in the morning. So if you do get a chance to hit that thumbs up, it'll be massively appreciated. If you haven't already done that in the live chat room, also you can still do it if you're watching this on catch up. And to give you guys a reference point, it's 1:10 in the morning here in the UK, so 1:10 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So if you do the calculations and you're not watching this live, you can still hit that thumbs up. And obviously, if you're not watching it live, your comment won't appear on the screen because it's just going to be something that is only shown live and not in the future. I'm sure you know how it goes and you can understand it, but I think a few people still, when they do tune in, they assume it's live when they're watching it, but it might not be the case. But anyway, thank you guys so much for the donations tonight. We've had another one in there. It is C.A. Nastri, who has donated £2. So thank you so much for that. And the message has just been deleted by Neil. I think I did see it, and I'm trying to access some kind of photographic memory here. It was something like, stop deleting our pictures. No, stop deleting our comments from Facebook or something like that. There's something about deleting something from Facebook. So I'm not in charge of the Facebook, but I'm sure that Laura and Vince over there aren't deleting any comments unless they're inappropriate, or if it's a question about being removed from the page. I don't think that happens. It would only be the case if something's been posted that's inappropriate or offensive. That's the only reason that you might get removed from that supporters page, but it's not something that I control myself. But Laura and Vince are the two that are going to be over there, with Vince hosting the after party after these live streams and Laura just allowing people into that group. So it is pretty open. It's exactly like the live chat room here tonight. All the same people, all the same kind of vibe, keeping it community based, and you won't get removed unless it is those things, or are those things that are inappropriate and not really for a Facebook group, especially where there are so many people who are just there for the community side of things. So thank you for that donation, and I think I pretty much got that. And here we go. I can catch the same message over the right. It says someone is removing all the members from the group, exclamation mark. So I'll have a look into that after this, and if it is a case of all of the members getting removed from the group, then that's something that might be a hacking thing going on. I don't know. I'll have to check it after this live stream, but I'll look into that for you, whoever that is. It's Uncle Bryn who is messaging. I'll look into that, and I think the last time I checked, it was something like 440 something. So if it is well below that, then we'll have to look into it. It might be a hacking thing going on, and we'll have to try and suss it out with Facebook. But thank you for the message. And also Stephen, who has donated $3. Thank you for that. And this is the guy doing the fist bump. Is that what it says? It's too small for me to read, but I'm going to assume that that's what it is because of the motion. I think I've seen that before. But thank you, Stephen, for that donation. And we are going to be calling this live stream to a close. It is 1:15 here in the morning, as you guys know. The longer these go on, the more likely a troll is going to get involved. And last night, around this time, is when my internet just stopped working for 2.5 hours. So I'm going to see if I can finish this live stream. We will have to get into maybe next week. Well, next week, technically, the next live stream, which is Tuesday. So not next Saturday night, but on Tuesday night. I know that Lisa did request Paris Nord to be played tonight, but we can put that into the next live stream and hopefully that's going to be okay. It's getting a little bit late here now and I really don't want this to cut off because if it does, it means we'll lose this whole live stream. So then people trying to watch it in the future won't be able to access it because it will be cut off and it might not be public up there. So let's have a look into the live chat room. It seems like we've got a little bit of action in there, just referencing what was just going on. Neil said he was a troll, Phil, and whiners or something like that. So, or maybe winners. I don't know what that means. But thank you for that, Neil. And I think Laura went through saying that nobody has been deleted. As I said, I will check afterwards. But if it's still around 440 odd people, then nobody's been deleted from there because that will be exactly the same number that I saw earlier today, but also earlier when I last got the picture from Ray to put on this live stream. So we'll have a look at that and hopefully it isn't any hacking stuff going on. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I am determined this week to end the live stream in a smooth way, and hopefully that's going to be possible. You guys in the super chat window, thank you so much for all of your donations. It helps so much with keeping everything running on the channel and allows me to do a new video every single night, as well as these guys at the bottom of the screen who are the people that keep this whole channel running and pretty much keep me running. Is the foundation of everything I do, the support over on Patreon. So thank you guys so much for that. And finally, everybody who joins me in the live chat room for these live streams, thank you so much for your company. It's such a great place to be, and the moderators keep it such a great place to be in that live chat room. So thank you, Laurie and Neil, for doing such a great job tonight. And I'm just going to have a quick shout out the names in that live chat room. We do have Corey in there, and Laurie as well, and Mark, and Louis, Teacher Man 1955, and Teresa's in there as well, King Nero, Alexi, Ray still in the house, Kevin as well, and Stuart and Bud Weiser. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. I'm going to be live again on Tuesday night, so I hope you guys can join me then. And if I don't see you then, I'll see you at the next analysis video, which will be tomorrow night and Monday night as well. I'm always in those comment sections. So thank you everybody for all of your support. Try to stay safe, and if there is any storm coming towards you, just lock everything up, stay as safe as you can, and I will see you guys on Tuesday or in the comment section tomorrow and the next day for the analysis videos. Catch you later. Rock!